All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. The CPI came in today, and I'm glad I stopped telling you the market was going crazy because I never thought I would say it. The CPI wasn't crazy at all. I really do think this was one of the smallest market reactions we have seen all year. The NASDAQ barely moved by the end of the day, up 0.25%. SPY only up just above 0.1%. And then the Dow Jones was negative, but literally we closed borderline right where the top candle was right when the release came out. So what happened? Headline came in hot as expected, and then even core, that ticked up a little bit, but pretty much there was nothing new to the story. There is a glass half full view and a glass half empty, but I have some problems with it. Pretty much a lot of people are still continuing to focus on the progress of inflation. I mean, here is one of the charts. This is showing you the core services. We're going to get into it, but you see that progress still going down. People like it, but I'm looking at the calendar and the clock, and I'm like, it's almost October, and it's almost a new year. Maybe this whole, it's glad we're seeing progress. We need results now, and I don't think it's good. So we have a lot to talk about. Even better, tomorrow is still going to be a crazy day. So I got a little bit of a breakdown for you, and then I got a couple plays, 3, 1, 2, maybe. We'll see what we're working with, and then that's it. Then we get ready for tomorrow. I'll see you in the morning. There's data before the bell, but Chad, I need that thumbs up. I need to make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/The Stock Market. We will see you there in the morning. It's free 99. Run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's a 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
But right off the bat, the first thing I want to talk about is not CPI. That's old news. It already happened. We are going to talk about it, though, but tomorrow. And this chart you're looking at right now, this is showing you the 10-year and how it moves per standard deviation. So essentially, if there is a 1 standard deviation beat or miss on any of the data events, you could expect the 10-year to move 5 basis points. If it's 2 standard deviations, you'll move 10. If you go all the way as far as 5, like we recently saw on some of the payrolls, you have gotten up to a 0.25 basis point move the minute the data comes out. So why this is important, and I want you to see this, is because coming into tomorrow in the data, the ECB is not on here, but as far as data releases, we are going to be getting the PPI tomorrow as well as retail sales. So retail sales, if there is a big standard deviation miss, we could get a big move on the bonds, and that might give us some volatility. Even with the PPI, it comes in lower than the CPI, and even like you're seeing again, and this is all off of standard deviation beats and miss. So like today, it's showing you CPI can move the bonds a lot. Today, the bonds barely moved. I pointed this out throughout a lot of assets. Go to the 10-year, go to the 30-year, go to the 2-year. They barely moved. Even go look at oil futures, even go look at the dollar. Things were very minuscule in terms of how they moved even compared to yesterday. So even after a CPI, and even though we anticipated a lot and think it's this very big event, you didn't really get a big move because the data, it wasn't a standard deviation off. It was actually smack dab in line, even core. There was no surpriser. So that's why, depending on tomorrow of PPI or retail sales, if that comes in with a surprising move and it moves the bonds, we will see more action than what we saw today. And then, like I've been telling you, the cherry on top is the ECB. So that's what we're starting with. But now let me talk about the ECB real quickly, and then we will get into the CPI and what happened, because a lot of people were asking today, well, what's going on? What's going to happen next? And then everyone was like, okay, well, what about PPI tomorrow? And like I'm showing you, PPI can have some importance, but if we do not have a big data beat or miss, I really wouldn't be swinging for the fences, because we're going to take in all this data and then respond to it at Powell next week. That's really the only thing we're looking for, is their data that is big enough, beat, miss enough to get you to actually react before the big bad wolf. I don't know, Powell, he cuts cheap. We like Powell, but anyways, the point I was saying all day, the ECB is more important than anything tomorrow morning, because once again, we said this from the beginning of the week, they have raised rates since July 2022, and they have done it nonstop. Once they pause, if they pause, and even this morning there was a report saying maybe they won't pause, but if they do, that will be another bigger country, a bit involved in Western monetary policy to a degree. They will be pausing, and that could change the euro, the dollar, and some of that other dynamic that we were focusing on more last week. So that's why I'm saying it's important tomorrow. If they end up just raising, that would be a less surpriser in a weird way, and then that just means, okay, well, maybe with all this stuff we're seeing in inflation, and then we'll react to U.S. data, and then they'll pass the puck back to Powell for next week. But that is a big event I'm looking for, and then we'll close it out with Friday. Again, you're going to have Michigan consumer sentiment, and then I think there's one more thing, Empire Manufacturing, but that's what we need for tomorrow. But now let's talk about what happened with CPI today. Like I told you, the numbers, it came in slightly above on core, I believe by 0.1, and then headline came in at 0.6. It was largely expected. The problem that I had, once again, it starts here with this chart that we're looking at, and this is the core services excluding housing, aka the Supercore. And here's my problem with today, because like I was telling you yesterday, I really thought there was a chance we could have came in lower, because we should have, because of the progress we have made. And I was saying, compare it to the year-over-year comps on like headline and core, those numbers should have beat. But now the problem I had today with Mr. Supercore is that people like the direction. It came in higher than expected. So even though it is still kind of coming downwards, and that's good for direction-wise, people thought it was going to be lower. Actually, all year, we thought that this would even be lower. We were looking for a big dip. Remember, 2021, there was a dip. 2022, there was a dip. But like I'm trying to show you, anytime you started dipping on, real estate, and then it starts to not go down as expected, usually the turnaround starts to go up. And this is where I'm saying, although people like the progress, and that's what gave the glass half full view on all of the inflation numbers. Again, was anything bad? No. It's the same exact theme that we have been witnessing all year. Inflation has been making its way downtown, dropping fast. No, you know what I'm saying? But that has been the story. Even Supercore has came down, but the idea here is now, as we are entering in a season where, again, look at the ends of every other year, that's where it usually starts to ramp up, except for 2020. This is where we got to start paying attention on it, because now if energy is up, other factors excluding housing is still going up, and it's not really basing out, and then we start to see housing start to go back up again, which this was the whole point I have here. Remember, a year ago, Powell brought up this, because why are we looking at Supercore? Are we stuffed animals? No, we all live in houses. Why are we excluding food, energy, housing, autos, all of this stuff? It's because Powell created these, or well, he didn't create them. He said just exclude this stuff so you could see in general, without these outliers and this transitory whatever, inflation might be coming down, or this is the real way we're looking at it, trying to give a different view of it all. But that's why I'm saying they expected a bigger drop with this. And if this does not go down and now real estate starts coming up, Powell was saying he expected a drop in real estate. They got it. But if this was the only impact and now it starts ramping up, coming into all of it, and they're still not cutting rates and all this other stuff, it is going to get very interesting. So although I don't think today was enough to move anything, like I said, in a weird way now, about 8-9 months in, I say we got to start paying attention. Is it very soon? I don't know if progress is going to cut it anymore, because, again, that was the story of last year once we end this year in a couple months. So hope you get what I'm saying here, but either way, it was a wild day. The CPI, like we said, not big of a reaction, but now we have these data events, and before you know it's Powell next week, and then we're going to get the real juice. So I hope you're ready, but let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got a couple of plays, and actually, let me just even give you some really, really quick recaps on what happened. Apple kind of sold off a little bit from the sell the news. They did their own thing there, but again, that was big in the news. Then Netflix, I made a play on it. I was going for the flip after it was down 3%. It dropped another 2. I got clapped $10 a share on 100 shares. It was awful, but they were at that conference, and again, this is something, before I tell you the news, for all the plays, this conference, these Goldman Sachs Tech Conference, Morgan Stanley Conference, headlines, you're getting CEOs in a lot of comments made, and it is not hitting your traditional news media. Go look at some of the headlines. I had to search to find them to get you a screenshot on the watch list yesterday, but we talked about this on stream. It's very hard to find some of these headlines because there's these little conferences and the CEOs are saying stuff, but not all of it is really getting the forefront of attention. And that's literally what happened with Netflix today. The CFO, he made a comment towards margin and people moving out of the premium tier. He said that the growth in margins is going to move gradual. He said they're definitely not at the top. And he talked about buybacks. That didn't make the headlines. Again, we had the whole conference live on stream listening. We were like halfway through after it was there, but there was that. Then Citi, they reiterated guidance. They announced restructuring. Again, they were just at the conference. I don't know if this one was conference per se, but they recently were discussing that. Then the 3M CEO, the CFO, he warned of a slow growth environment and saying that electronics and consumer wasn't good. It's interesting. Amazon went 3% on today. Then Ford, they're doubling hybrid F-150 production. American Airlines and Spirit, they both gave guidance in terms of like fuel costs, saying it's a drag, but AAL, they negatively pre-announced for Q3 with higher fuel costs, and that was not good. You've been getting that a lot. Then Myrna had an influenza trial update. Then FitB, First Third Bank, first one, two, weird-ass bank name, but they said Q3 net interest income is coming in at the better end of guidance. But for regionals, that's good news. But all of that was in the morning, and now to the plays. Like I said, I started with Netflix, made a play. I'm still holding it. I think it's going to move around tomorrow. I thought it was just going to bounce off of the 418 to like 415, then it went lower, but it could touch 400. We'll see how it plays out, but I really think it'll probably just run with the market. And remember, there is a big options expiration on Friday, so watch out for that. That is play number 1. Then play number 2. This one just caught my attention today, and I don't know if it's going to have a continuation, but JB Hunt, they have a pretty interesting chart. When you pull them out, they're related to travel. They haven't moved much, but they were at the tech conference today, or the Morgan Stanley one, and they started to move up, but they were one of the biggest leaders on the S&P 500 today. I thought that one was interesting. I really want to keep my eye out for that one, but I don't know if that news will have any carry-through or carry-over, but that is going to be play number 2. And then finally, keep an eye out for MGM. I don't know if I want to play this. I want to watch MGM win Las Vegas Sands. There was that cyber attack, and everybody knows about it. And this is where it's going to be interesting, because remember, watch Palo Alto Networks. Remember, they moved off this on earnings, but there's like that new law in that if you get hacked or you have like a data breach, you have to, it's a material event, so you have to file it per your stock. So they haven't filed it yet, but they're going to. I want to see how it's going to react, because Caesars, MGM, I think Caesars, they said, but I'm pretty sure Caesars is part of MGM, even though they're like two separate ones, but I think they use similar computer systems, but they said that they paid the ransomware, and then I think MGM, I don't know yet, but there should be a regulatory filing. And what I'm saying is, watch when the regulatory filing comes out, because there could be a move or not, and then we'll get to see how it plays out, because this is a relatively new law, and we'll get to kind of see those trading effects on it. So that is everything. I have nothing else for you. Again, I'm still in MPW for the flip shares. I was supposed to sell it out after ex-dividend, but the bonds are moving. I'm thinking even PPI. I don't think it'll resist moving with bonds. So giving it another day here, still riding it through. Again, I'm a very patient individual. Still in some of those biotechs like RVNC, RXRX. That was in the video, and all those I'm still in them. They're down. Again, AMD, that one was up. If Intel, we got out of that one. That one is up too. I did grab the Netflix, like I said. I closed that at Oracle. $100 profit today. Could have got a little more, and then that's it. And then I still need to roll over the yen by the end of the week. We're still in YCL shares, but the yen futures I will need to close and roll over to keep going, because that is what I want to do. But that is everything, Chad. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the morning, but that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And as much as I want to tell you the difference between a bush and a garden is order, you know what separates is order. That's how you make something beautiful. As much as I want to tell you that, I want to tell you to just listen for universal truth. You will find people you disagree with. You will disagree with me. You will find people to agree with. Everybody has done some shit. They could say some smart things and do some really awful things. And I want you to listen for universal truth. You do not judge the person. I want you to take the universal truth, apply it to your life, and hopefully you seek and find the universal truth. Chad, that's it. I love you. God bless you. I'll see you not on 2K tonight. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it'd be late if I had time, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not playing if we got to get some Bitcoin. We got to do some other things. Crazy, bro. But I love you. God bless you, and good night. Thank you. It's awkward. I made it awkward. I had to change. All right, man. Bye. I love you.